and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a full face of Burts Bees makeup. I've been using Burts Bees for a little while now and slowly adding to my collection, so I thought it'd be a great time to test them all out together and see how they work. I've been getting more and more interested in Burts Bees makeup, mainly because I've been using the Think Dirty app and kind of looking at all the different products I own, what ingredients are in things, and really trying to pay more attention to that when I'm purchasing or using makeup. So today I have everything that I need to complete a full face, so let's just get right into it. I've already prepped my skin with my basic morning skincare, so I'm going to go right into foundation. I'm using the Burts Bees Goodness Glows Liquid Makeup with responsibly sourced Meadow Foam. It's their liquid foundation. This is what I was able to find at my Shoppers Drug Mart, and it also had a really good rating on the Think Dirty app, so I thought it would be great to give it a try, see if maybe using something like this will help with limiting any more breakouts. So it comes with a pump. The foundation is a little bit thicker than what I would normally gravitate towards, but again, I really wanted to try something that was a little bit more affordable, but was again more natural. It just so happened to be on sale at my superstore when I was shopping. So I'm just going to take it with my stipple brush and apply it over my skin. A lot of the foundations I use, I generally will use my fingers, but since this is a bit thicker, I wanted to apply it with my foundation brush. That was one pump of foundation. If you've watched other videos on my channel, you'll probably know that I generally prefer a little bit lighter coverage. I don't necessarily gravitate towards a really heavy foundation application. With that being said, I am going to put a little bit more on my hand here, and I just want to see if I can build it up a little bit more over the areas that I have a touch of discoloration. Sometimes that's nice if you don't really want to go in with a lot of concealer, if it's a little bit more of a widespread area. Sometimes I find it's nice to add another coverage of foundation instead of really piling on the concealer. By the way, I'm using the shade 1010 Ivory. I think it's a little bit light for me, truth be told. However, it's what I bought. I didn't really want to return it, so I'm just going to make it work and bring it down my neck a little bit if needed to make sure that it blends in well to the rest of my skin. Unfortunately, Burt's Bees doesn't really have a good bronzer. One of their all the glow sticks, or maybe two of them, are technically marketed as bronzers, but I personally don't use them as such. So what I'm just gonna do is bring it down my neck a little bit. Next thing I'm going to be using is the Burt's Bees concealer. It comes in the same packaging as their liquid lipstick. I have used this concealer before. If I'm being 100% honest, I wasn't all that impressed by it. I found it a little bit lackluster. I didn't think the color payoff was very good. Even the doe foot, like I just dumped it back in and like I hardly got any product back on here. But we're going to use it again today and see if maybe using it with their foundation will make it work a lot better. I put a little bit more concealer than I normally would, just knowing that it doesn't really have great payoff. So what I'm going to do is try and tap it into the skin here and see if we can get a little bit more coverage or not. I don't have two shades of this concealer, so I'm probably not going to put any more down here. I don't really want to use this little bit of a lighter color to highlight any of those spots. Yeah, so I'm still not the biggest fan of this concealer. I find that it just doesn't look very nice underneath the eyes. I just feel like it doesn't sit nicely on my skin, really doesn't add all that much coverage. Something about it just doesn't really work. Maybe it works for others, unfortunately it just doesn't really seem to work that well for me. I've tried using it with a brush, I've tried using it with my fingers, just isn't really a product that's for me. Next, we're gonna go into our cream blush because I do have some powder products that I want to apply, so I want to make sure I get the cream products on first. So the blush product I'm going to use today is the All Aglow Lip and Cheek Stick, and this is in the shade Blush Bay. It's a little bit deeper, like when looking at it in the stick like this, than most things I would go towards, but I find upon application it actually looks really nice. I like to use my e.l.f. stipple brush, so I load it up on my brush and then I just start kind of tapping it on my cheek where I want to see that color deposited. And I have a tendency again to pull my blush up here, and I like the amount of color that it gives. You can definitely tell that it's added some of the color. I find a lot of people apply this stick directly to their face and then it either pulls off their base or it just doesn't give them very much payoff, but I find using this technique works really nice with this product. And if I need more, I just load up my brush a little bit and then dab it right on top. I usually like to intensify the apples of my cheek when applying blush. So I think that's not too bad of a start. If I need more, I can always add a little bit more after. I've never tried adding this product on top of powder, but if needed today, I might. We'll see what happens. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You kind of just have to get to know the products that you're using. Next, I'm going to use the All Aglow highlighter, and this is in the shade Opal Mist. And I really like this one. It's not too intense. It's kind of a nice like glossy finish. This product I prefer to use with my finger, so I just kind of warm it up on my finger and then I just tap it over where I want to have a little bit more of a dewy kind of finish. The foundation that I use from Burts Bees is a little bit more of a glowy foundation, so I don't really need to add too much, but I still do think it's nice to have a little extra emphasis there. Now depending on the day, I'll put my highlight either in this area or sometimes I'll go over and up into the hairline almost a little bit. Today I just want to keep it more so in this area. Since I have all my cream products down now, I'm going to set my face. I have the Burt's Bees Mattifying Powder Foundation with Bamboo. I love their packaging of their powders. This little honeycomb shape I think is so adorable. And then they also have that shape again on the inside of the powders, or on the powders I should say. So I'm going to use, just because it's here, I'm going to use the sponge that it comes with. I've used it before, found it worked not too bad. I want to just give it another try again. If it's not working for me, then what I can easily do is just take a brush and then go from there. The one nice thing is I got this powder in the shade Vanilla, so I find if for some reason, or you know in this case today, the foundation is looking a little bit light on me, this powder I find is a touch darker than what I would normally go for, and it kind of helps to balance out the lighter foundation. I generally like to set the T-zone area, and I also have a tendency to set, like you see, along the jawline here because I do touch my face a lot, so it's a nice way to just help make sure that the makeup's going to stay a bit longer. And it's nice to pair these two products together, I find, because the foundation, the liquid foundation is glowy, this mattifying powder foundation is obviously mattifying, so it's nice to use in the T-zone and get rid of some of that oiliness. And it's easy enough to take with you during the day to do touch-ups if you need. So I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the blush, or one of their blushes in the shade Toasted Cinnamon. I am going to use it to add just a bit of depth to this area of my face, and I might touch it a little bit on my forehead just to bring back some of that color, but just know that this is actually a blush and looks beautiful if it's applied as a blush. I posted a look a while back on my Instagram where I did kind of more brown tone makeup and I got really good feedback. People all seem to love it. I loved it too. It's just so neutral and so easy to wear. I'm going to take again just a touch and I'm going to add it into my hairline up here just to add a little bit more depth to my face. There we go. Touch more color up here. And when there's not too much left on my brush, I just kind of buff in around the forehead. Again, it adds a little bit more depth, but it's not generally too much intensity. If I notice that I'm having issues kind of getting product into my hairline, what I try and do is tap along my hairline to really make sure I'm depositing product there. So I'm really liking how this base is looking. I think it's got a nice bit of glow on the outside, but we were able to mattify as well in our T-zone, where I personally get a little bit more oily. So I'm really liking the way that this is looking. Next, I was thinking that we could move into eyes, but before we do that, I wanted to show you one of the other blushes that they have. It's a beautiful color. It's called Shy Pink. And this is another thing you could do if you wanted to get a little bit more color. You could take your brush and say you wanted to touch up. Since it's cream, we can easily go over with a little bit of blush on our brush and just kind of add a little bit more color, a little bit more intensity. And if you're looking for a product to last a little bit longer through the day, doing a cream product and then putting a powder product on top can really help you get a little bit more longevity if you want to take those extra steps. I think that using just the cream products works just as nice, and the one great thing is that they will slowly kind of fade away through the day. So I find that when I've used these products, I've never had an issue of it going patchy on me. Usually it's just kind of like a subtle fade away of product, so it's not really very noticeable, which is all I'm usually looking for in my makeup if it isn't something that's super long lasting. Next, what I think I'm going to do is put on a little eyeshadow. I picked up one of their trios a little while back. This one is Dusky Woods. It's pretty neutral. I wanted something that wasn't too crazy and that if I really wanted to be able to take a look from no eyeshadow or kind of intensify it a little bit, I could have something just like this to throw in my purse. What I'm going to do is, because I feel like I don't have all that much on my eyelids, I'm going to take my powder foundation and then one of my eyeshadow brushes, just gather some product and really kind of buff this in hopes that it adds a little bit more color, but then it should also help to set our eyelids a little bit more, because I did apply a little bit of concealer along with foundation initially. So this should help to make sure that we don't get any creasing and add a little bit more coverage. Just kind of mattified and set down what product we did have up there. But next, what I'm going to do is take, since this palette to me doesn't really have a nice transition color, I'm going to take Toasted Cinnamon and I'm going to run that through my crease. This is a great way to make use of multiple products if you find you're like missing something, or you see an eyeshadow, you like the look. I constantly will use bronzer in my crease if it doesn't come with a really obvious transition shade. I've got some on my brush here and I'm just going to apply it in my crease and a little bit above and below. A little messily. I'm not being super specific. I generally don't do super specific eyeshadow looks on the daily. I like to kind of open my eyes every now and then when I'm applying my product to see how it's going to show above the eye. Actually, here, I'll zoom you in a little bit more. Alright. So now you can have a little bit of a closer look when I'm applying my eyeshadow. I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to eyeshadow application. I just kind of go for generally pretty diffused looks. Some days literally this would be all I would do on my eye, is put a little bit through the crease, add some definition, and then throw on some mascara and be done with it. That can be nice if you really don't want to go for anything crazy. Just a little bit of the bronzy shade on your lid. What I'll do sometimes as well is take whatever I have left and apply it underneath my eye there, just to add, again, a little bit more depth and tie the two together. I think the key to most eyeshadow application is making sure that you slowly build, unless you're going for something where you want a lot of pigment in a specific area. But if you're trying to do something more diffuse, it's nice to start with less product and slowly add more, so that you don't have this like big patch of product on your face, and it can look pretty unnatural if you're doing it in that way. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deepen the outer corner using this shade here. I'm going to switch brushes as well. This is just one from Body Shop. It's a little bit more dense than the one I was previously using. So I think it's going to help me place product where I really want it, which is just more so on this outer corner to create a little bit more shape. It's going to be fairly soft. I'm not going for anything too intense. And again, like I said, kind of slowly adding product as I need. I'm going to put a little bit more kind of diffused along my lash line just to, again, add a little bit more depth, but not too much intensity. On to the other side again, so just kind of creating the shape that I want to get using this color, and then slowly blending it into the areas where I want it to be more prominent, or less prominent I should say. And for the next one, I'm just going to take that shimmer shade that's in this palette here. You can see it's kind of a bronzy gold kind of reflect to it. Nothing too crazy, and then I'm just going to tap it on my eye with my finger, which is how I apply the majority of my kind of more shimmery eyeshadows. I think I have it on pretty well there, so what I'm going to do is take that first brush that we used that was in our crease shade, and then I'm just going to blend around the edges to make sure that we don't have any harsh lines and that it all looks nice and cohesive. Nothing too crazy, but you can see it just, especially a color like this for someone with blue eyes, probably with green eyes as well, it really helps to kind of just make it pop a little bit more. When I did take my crease brush there, I didn't add any extra product to it. I just left what was ever kind of residual from when I applied that crease shade to just help me kind of blend and diffuse out those edges. The other thing you can do if you really want to try and pull the look together is take that middle shade that we just applied all over the lid and take a little bit more of a precise eyeshadow brush. I actually really love this, I think it's, drawing shadow brush from Sephora. It's number 41. It's a little bit more tapered, not very big, but it's perfect if you want to kind of get underneath the lash line. So what I'm going to do is take this and just kind of add a little bit more depth to our look by putting it underneath my eye here. You can see kind of how that changed the shape a little bit, brought it a little bit more life to our look. You could also use a brush like this if you wanted to apply that crease shade that we first put on underneath your eyes so that you get, again, a little bit more pigment application there. I didn't want to, I wanted to again have it a little bit more diffused, and then I used that other color there to really build up a little bit more. Next I'm going to go in with a little bit of eyeliner. I have the warm brown eyeliner here. I find it's a fairly, it's warm brown, but it's not too warm. So I'm going to use this and just kind of add a nice little bit of a line here above my eyes, nothing too crazy. Sometimes I find when I'm applying eyeliner, a nice way to do it is hold a mirror kind of lower, look down, and then apply it. If you're trying to get a very precise line just along the lash line, I find this can be a really nice way to do it. And then what I usually do is, as you can see there, I take my finger and I kind of smudge it out a little bit because I don't really want too much preciseness when I'm doing this kind of a look. I also applied it here to the outer third of my eye. I just like the way it looks and how it kind of pulls. At least it defines that part a little bit more. Next, I'm going to curl my lashes and then I'm going to show you the mascara that I'm going to apply. Alright, so our lashes are curled. Now we're going to go in with the Burts Bees Nourishing Mascara. I've used this mascara quite a bit actually, and I really do love it. I have the shade Black Brown, and for more of a natural everyday look, I find it really, really nice. It's a little bit more of a liquidy mascara than what I normally gravitate towards, but again, I've been finding that I like it. This is what the spoolie looks like. Just a nice wand, so I'm just going to take it and start adding it to my lashes. When I apply my mascara, I like to do a little bit of the wiggle then pull method, but I think it's really important to get the tips of your lashes if you're trying to get length out of whatever mascara you're using. So a nice way to do that can sometimes be to pull it up and then press down a little bit once you get to the very top of the lashes. I find that it helps to make product adhere a little bit better. Alright, so there's with mascara, without. So it really doesn't do too bad of a job at adhering to your lashes and kind of adding a little bit to them. Alright, so I'm just going to get the other eye done and then we'll zoom out and talk about lips. So Burts Bees actually has quite a few different lip products depending on what your personal preference might be. They have matte lip crayons. This here is in the shade Redwood Forest. Really beautiful, nice red shade, and you can really wear it as more of almost like a stain or a blotted lip, and it looks wonderful. They have a gloss crayon. It's also really beautiful. I love it because I find them just to be so nice and easy to apply. This here is not too crazy of a shade. It's very neutral. I love it. It's one of my go-to kind of everyday pencils. Nice and easy, just throw in your bag, take it on the go. And they have liquid lipsticks as well. This here is in the shade Coral Cove. It's one of my favorites. I love wearing this color. I think it's so beautiful, so well formulated, and just feels nice and nourishing. You can see there that it's a little bit more intense, has a little bit of a sheen to it. Absolutely lovely. So I think I'm going to put this one on today because it kind of goes along with our pinky vibes that we got going on here. We'll see. If it's too intense, then I'll take it off and put on that other gloss. But that's all the fun of makeup, is you get to play around with different colors, see what works, see what fits your mood for that day. So that is Coral Cove. I really love it. I think it's just a beautiful shade. It has a nice little bit of a sheen. It's not one of their more matte formulas for their liquid lipsticks. This shade, I don't know if any of the other shades have this kind of sheen to it. It's just a really beautiful color. It works nicely with my kind of natural lip tone underneath. Never use a pencil or anything with this. But just for fun, I'm actually going to show you as well what the gloss pencil does look like. So say you want a more simple lip, or since you have something on the eyes you like to do a little bit more neutral, this is another great option. It just glides on so easily. I love how I can kind of just put it on, don't even really need much of a mirror. I mean, I have a mirror here, but I could probably just do this in the car without even looking. It just adds a nice bit of color. This one is a little bit more almost mauvey kind of cool tone, so I like to kind of rub it in a little bit. It also is showing a little bit differently because I did apply that liquid lipstick first. And if you really wanted to, I mean, of course you can always play with colors. If you want to add a little bit of red, you can kind of dot this over top, blend it in, and kind of customize in your own shade if you want to deepen up a shade. Just play around. Makeup's supposed to be fun. There's no real rules in my opinion. If you like doing something a certain way, you do it. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. So that's my full face using Burts Bees makeup. I think there's some great products that they've come out with. Like, I love the Aloe Glow Sticks. I think they're beautiful. Layering on top of their blushes, again, another great product. Their foundation, I find, is actually fairly nice. I don't see too many issues specifically with foundation. Concealers, as I said, not a fan. I'm probably going to try and use it up on more natural days, but it's not going to be a go-to of mine. Hopefully I'll be able to find a different, more natural concealer that I can start working into my routine once I finish this one. I didn't use one of their brow products today, however they do have one. Right now I'm really into using soap through my brows. I just like the way it looks, and maybe I'll put a little bit of, if I feel as though I need it, pomade or MAC Shape and Fill if I really want to, but today I pretty much just went with the soap brows. They have a traditional just pencil with a spoolie for their brow product. Liquid lipstick is another great product, one of my faves. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more from me. Comment down below any other videos that you want to see from me. More than happy to try and film some videos that you guys are really interested in. Otherwise, hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.